Okay, so the last point is, and it's one that people debate forever, and it's such a stupid debate. It's the I see posts all day long online. What is better, tube or solid state? Here is the correct answer. Yes. This complete false ideology that all tube amps are great and all solid state amps suck is probably the single stupidest thing that I hear on a daily basis. I don't know if the average guitar playing community has just been brainwashed, or if some, or I don't know, or if they're just that stupid. When I say the guitar players are like children, I really honestly mean that. We are like children. We are taught to believe a certain thing, and without even uh, researching it for ourselves, we just regurgitate and spit it back out to people. And that's what we do. I've had people tell me, like, oh, this guitar sucks. And I'm like, really? Because I just did all the research on it. And all the research that I've done online and on YouTube says that it's a pretty good guitar. Oh, well, I didn't play it myself. That's what this one guy told me. So this one guy tells you it sucks, and therein becomes your basis of your opinion of the instrument. Not only does that become your opinion of the instrument, you are now giving this opinion to other people who, off the top of their head, assume you've done the research, and you haven't. That's how guitar players roll. It's like, and it really doesn't make any sense with the amount of technology available to us today at our fingertips. You don't even have to get home to your computer. On your phone, you can research any topic that you want to know within minutes. And if you don't feel like typing, just say, hey Google, and boom, you're off to the, or Siri, or whichever phone you have, and you're off to the races. That, even for the lazy people. So in this day and age, for people to just steal, just spew out and regurgitate this garbage sometimes just befuddles me. Here's the truth about solid state versus tube. There are good solid state amps out there, and the technology is getting better every day. Does solid state sound exactly like tube? No, not yet. Will it? I have confidence that sooner or later it will, because it's getting that good. I've watched videos where guys have tried to basically debunk the solid state tube thing, and basically what they found out was, with a blindfold on, not using their eyes to help them hear things that don't exist, they weren't really able to 100% dictate the difference between solid state and tube. So if you can't tell the difference with your eyes closed, then what are you using to say that one sounds better than the other? You're using what you think you know as opposed to what you're actually hearing. And we a lot of times let our knowledge and our eyes kind of override our ears and make us hear things that we don't necessarily hear. Like when we're looking at a solid state amp and a tube amp, we definitely hear the difference. You know what I'm saying? We go, oh yeah, I can hear the, gosh, I really hear the difference in those two amps. But you put the blindfold on, those major mega differences that you heard when you knew which one was which one, they kind of start to disappear at that point. So with today's technology and how good the solid state amps are getting and how good some of these analog pedals are getting, I think it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between the two amps. But That being said, even before the technology got that great, here's the truth. There are companies out there making tube amps that sound like crap. That being said, a really good solid state amp versus a tube amp that sounds like crap, in that situation, the solid state amp is going to sound better. So, this whole thing that solid state always sounds better than tube is just ridiculous. Man, anyone that thinks that they've never listened to a solid state amp and thought it was a tube or thought it sounded good, I refer you to listen to the first four King's X albums because those were recorded with solid state amps. That was the Gibson. It was a collaboration between Gibson and Moog. They were the Lab Series amplifiers, and not only were the first four King's X albums recorded with those amplifiers. Back in the day when B.B. King used to tour, if he couldn't have his exact amplifier, he would always request that a Lab Series amplifier be in the back line. And that's a blues player. So, and blues is all about tone. So, I'm just saying, we need to reevaluate what we're regurgitating back out into public before we say it. The one thing I would hope that guitar players or any new guitar player gets from any of this stuff that I just said is that do your own research before you repeat to somebody something that you're telling them is law, because they may believe what you're saying, and what you're saying may not be correct. So, so in wrapping all this up, let me just make clear the things that I am saying. Am I saying that pickups? Am I saying that there are no differences between pickups? No, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying that there are not the millions of tonal differences that all the pickup companies would have you believe. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the biggest difference in most pickups is the output level of a pickup. That's the biggest difference. There are so many other things that go into determining what that pickup is going to sound like. Even the guitar that you're placing the pickup in is going to determine or heavily color what that pickup is going to sound like. Meaning, you've got to put the pickup in a guitar to determine what you think it sounds like. But I guarantee you, if you put a DiMarzio tone zone in a Les Paul, and then put a DiMarzio tone zone in the bridge of a Stratocaster, the tone is not going to be the same. So a lot of these things go into kind of determining what these pickups sound like. But the biggest determination of what a pickup is going to sound like is the magnet and the wire and how many wrappings it is around the magnet. And then from that, just know that your tone is determined by just everything in your signal chain is what determines what your overall tone is. Even including these are part of your signal chain. So you can get exactly everything that your favorite guitar player has and not miss one piece of gear. But your technique, if your technique isn't exactly like his, your tone is not going to be exactly like his still. The neck through versus bolt-on, or the multi-piece bodies versus the one-piece bodies. The basic simple thing of that is you need some sort of spectral meter to see the sound wave pattern. To be able to dictate or be able to determine which one sustains longer. But if we're talking about the sustain within the audible limits of the human ear, it's dependent upon each individual instrument as to which one will sustain the longest, not necessarily 100% by the manufacturing technique. The money versus quality, which for me, the money versus quality directly relates also to the next one, which is the American versus import. Depends on the guitar, the company, and the origin. And all those things determine which one makes the better guitar. America is not always the top dog. And we need to get out of that form of thinking that our way or our brand is always the best. It's really not. Sometimes it is. And I completely support American-made products, don't get me wrong. But this is made to be realistic, not patriotic. I would personally try to buy American whenever I have the opportunity. But if you're asking me which one makes the better product, sometimes we do, sometimes they do. It's just, that's just an honest answer. No one makes the best of anything 100% of the time. That's just not a feasible mindset to have. And as far as the tube versus solid state, the same principle applies to that as anything else we've talked about, is that it really goes by case scenario. It really goes by case. This amp versus this amp, that's more of a fair comparison. Now, whether it happens to be solid state or happens to be tube, I don't really even think we should take that in consideration when we compare amps. It just should be this amp versus that amp. Doesn't matter if it's solid state, tube, hybrid, whatnot. All that really matters is the sound quality that's coming out. I think if they did more comparisons that way and didn't tell anybody which one was the tube and which one was the solid state, I guarantee you there would be less people going, it's definitely solid, this one's definitely better. But I think it's definitely a case-by-case determination to be made as to which one is better. I don't think that is something that is just determined just by a blanket across the board statement. So anyway, that has been my 5 basic guitar myths. If you guys have any other suggestions, things you'd like to go over on this site, just either put it in the comments section, or you can send it to GillenH20 Gear and Review at gmail.com, and I'll get it there. And yeah, we'll try to get it going. So anyway, this is GillenH20. This has been Gear and Review, and this has been my 5 basic guitar myths.